Hey, what is up everyone, I'm Starlord, and today we're going to be talking and looking in depth to something that has been in the spotlight this week, and that is that Bethesda could possibly be announcing a HD remaster of one of their games at this year's E3. So back in February, I actually made a video that kind of compiled a lot of information together that pointed to Skyrim or Fallout 3 being remastered. And it looks like a lot more information has actually surfaced since then, so I guess I thought that I should kind of compile more information as well as the information that I found back in February, which I will actually say the link will be in the description to that video back in February. So the first thing I actually want to talk about is something that a lot of people may have missed, and you guys may not actually think it's that relevant, but when I found out this information, I was like, wow, that is a big point towards there being a Skyrim remaster. And that is that, unless you know it already, Skyrim was actually the first game that was ever tested for backwards compatibility. Now, it actually worked. It worked perfectly fine. Xbox representatives themselves said that Skyrim was the first game that they actually tested for backwards compatibility, and it worked perfectly. Now, what is a very confusing thing is that Skyrim has never actually been released backwards compatible to the Xbox One fanbase. Now, there is a reason for this. There must be a reason for this, because it's such a well-known game, people want it like crazy, and that is probably because Bethesda think, well, if Xbox can have it, then PS4 can't have it, and that's just really unfair. So why don't we just develop a remaster, so that everybody can have it, and there's no hate on either side? And that, to me, was probably the biggest point towards there being a Skyrim remaster back in February, which I've got to say, it makes sense. It really does. Tell me if you disagree, but it does make sense. Also, I probably should mention that Skyrim actually turns 5 this year, which is, you know, that's a big birthday for an awesome game like that. People still play it to this day. People still create mods for it until this day. And yeah, like I said, that kind of just adds a little bit more fuel to this whole speculation. And here is where we get into our first quote of the video, and it is from none other than himself, Todd Howard. And it says here that when Todd Howard was speaking to Game Informer's Andrew Reiner about the whole, you know, converting Skyrim to the Xbox One's hardware, he went and said that the first thing we did was port Skyrim to the Xbox One. Don't get your hopes up yet. And that is literally all he said, but the whole word itself kind of draws a bit of like hope to this being a remaster, where he says, don't get your hopes up yet. And that's pretty exciting, to be honest, guys, even though it's very insignificant. Again, this is more like fuel to the whole fire of Skyrim being a remaster. So sticking it with the quotes, we'll actually go over to the Xbox boss, Phil Spencer, when he was in an interview explaining why some Xbox 360 titles may not be backwards compatible. And he actually mentioned Fallout 3 in a lot of this interview. He went and said that, think about a game like Fallout 3 and you just go, wow, right? The support from the publishers have been good. So just from that little quote right there, we know that Bethesda were more than happy to actually port their game to the Xbox One console without any kind of, you know, big reasoning to not do. Then he went and said this a little while after. There are some instances where people are doing HD remakes of their back catalogue as well. So they may not want the HD remake and the backwards compatible version to come out at the same time. Everybody's going to make their own business decisions, but overall, we've been pleased with the support. So again, guys, when Skyrim was the first backwards compatible game that they actually tested, after so many months of backwards compatibility being available, why is it actually not available? And again, it all just points to a remaster. And yeah, that is pretty much everything I have to say about the Skyrim part of this, but there is something else that kind of throws me off a Skyrim remaster, and this is Fallout 3. So you're probably asking yourself now, what do you mean Fallout 3? Most consoles can already run it. Yes, well, something very strange happened at the very start of this year, and that was that Bethesda actually won a court battle to get Fallout 3 unbanned from Germany. Now, anybody who studies law or anything like that, I don't personally, but a lot of people actually said that that was a very difficult and really successful kind of thing to do, and they successfully got it unbanned, you know, but it was already banned 7 years before that. So why after, 7 years did they actually kind of go to court on this? Why did they spend so much money, so much time and effort to get a 7-year-old ban lifted? All they had to do was wait another couple years. After 10 years, it actually gets removed itself. So that kind of begs the question, why did Bethesda need to actually get it unbanned if it's only had a couple more years left until it did so itself? So yeah, very strange stuff indeed. It's very strange, and I'm kind of torn between a Fallout 3 remaster or a Skyrim one. It's got me torn, it really has. And before we drop the Fallout 3 HD remaster subject, I actually want to do another quote from Bethesda themselves, in which IGN Germany reached out to Bethesda asking why they actually pursued this ban after so many years, and Bethesda actually replied back, they would supply an answer in a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I did do a little bit of digging around, and there has not been an answer that they've, publicly released. So I'm kind of confused on that front. Maybe they were going to announce a remaster like a couple of months back, and then maybe they thought, fuck it, we'll leave it till E3. So I don't know, again, very suspicious stuff. So fast forward a couple of months to the present, which is right now, which is June, and thanks to Mr. Matty Plays, who actually featured a industry insider called Shinobi602 on his podcast the other day. And Shinobi has been known for being very accurate with his leaks, and he actually said that we should expect a remaster of sorts. And again, adding to the fire, we know that a remaster is going to get here, which is very exciting. Like I said, with all of the information that I found back in February and this new current information, it's clear to see it's going to happen. There is a remaster, just we don't actually know what, which is, it adds excitement to the whole community. The speculation is going crazy right now, and I want to know what you guys think. Do you think it could be either a Elder Scrolls one? Could it be a Fallout one? I don't know. Personally, I am siding with the Skyrim one because, like I said, back then they didn't actually release Skyrim backwards compatible, and that's for a reason, But whatever the whole speculation case is, we will actually find out at this month's E3, which is going to be awesome. You guys know I'm going to have all the news for you guys, so please stay tuned. And yeah, until next time, I've been Starlord. See ya!